finally do this. All right, so I want to pause myself on the Facebook Live. Okay, my loves. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to do this. Finally, I got the Zoom linked with the Facebook. So now I've been trying to do this for weeks. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your Tuesday lunch lessons. And this topic is by request by Connie. And she wanted to know how to go gray rock with her soon-to-be ex, narcissistic, soon-to-be ex-husband, who is narcissistic. Remember, don't say my narcissist. Don't say my narcissistic ex. Don't say my. Remember that. That's really important. Okay. So I just came back from a birthday weekend. So much fun. We were in Tennessee to see my dad. He lives in the mountains of Tennessee, and I had to connect with nature. So amazing. And one of the things that I got to do was Ray was out weed whacking. He helps my dad and my stepmom when we go there. And so I got to be alone, and I was like, let me just woosah for a minute. And so one of the things that came through when I was woosahing was the material to deliver to you on this topic. So I'm so excited to share this with you. And thank you, Connie, for this topic, because if you're divorcing a narcissist, if you're breaking up with a narcissist, even if you've done that already and you're out in the dating world, or even if you're in a new relationship and the narcissist just keeps coming around, keeps trying to poke into your life, into your relationship, or maybe you share custody with, child custody, and the narcissist tries to keep pulling you back into court or whatever. This is an amazing method for you to use in those situations, okay? So the first thing that I want to start with is, what is gray rock? So if you don't know what gray rock is, I looked it up for you. I looked it up for you because I think it's important for you to have the definition. And I use, okay, so this was betterup.com. I usually use Psychology Today. I love Psychology Today. But this comes from betterup.com. And it says gray rocking is a technique used to divert the toxic person's behavior by acting as unresponsive as possible when you're interacting with them. For example, using the gray rock method involves deliberate actions like avoiding eye contact or not showing emotions during the conversation. Let me see if I can copy and paste this. I think I can. Sweet. So let me put in the, hey, Nancy. So happy you're here. All right. So there's that from betterup.com. All right. Let me pop it in the Zoom chat for those of you who are on Zoom. There you go. So let's start with that, just so that you know what this method is, what it means, how to do it. Well, not how to do it, it shows you a little bit of how to do it, but just to give you a glimpse into that. All right. And so now I want to get into what the downloads that came through to me to deliver to you about this topic. And this is one of the things that I would like to say saved my life when I was leaving my ex-husband, who is a narcissist. Okay, I got lemon water here and I just scooped up a lemon. I'm detoxing for 3 days. Today's day 1. So no food. Okay, let's get into it because I want to take your questions. And this is every Tuesday. So eventually I will start, when you join me by Zoom, I can coach you. That means I can feature you next to me and coach you through some of the stuff. Okay. So for number 1, what I have is if you're still attached, now this is deep, okay? If you're still attached to the narcissist, whether that be your ex or the soon to be ex, whatever, meaning you haven't healed from the narcissistic abuse that you've been in. So you may think you're not in love or still love the narcissist, but unconsciously you may still be. So if you're still attached, meaning you love, you're still in love, or it's a familiar love that you haven't healed from, or love you never received and you're still craving that love. So this is unconscious stuff that's going on, right? This is going to hurt the plan of going gray rock. Okay. So it's one thing you got to start to dive deep into and ask yourself. Number 2, if you can't see them, or that part of them in you, again, this is when you go through the healing, this is how you'll be able to determine all of this. But if you can't see them or that part of them in you, this gray rock is not going to work. The gray rock method is not going to work because energetically, there's still an attachment. Energetically, there's still an attachment that you have to the narcissist. So that's why it's not going to work. This only works when you, mind, body, and soul go gray rock. Mind, body, and soul. Number 3, if you don't like or you resist that version of them in you. So let me explain that for a second. We don't attract narcissists into our lives by chance, by accident. It's very purposeful. It's unconscious, familiar, old patterns running in our subconscious mind is why. So I don't want you to think for a second that you have bad luck or this only happens to me or I'll never have a good relationship. I've never had a good relationship. I'll never have a good relationship. I don't want you to think any of those things because when you know that this is purposeful, unconsciously you're attracting this, then you can change that. And how do you change that is you dive deep into the healing process of why you've attracted narcissistic people and relationships into your life. Okay. So to detach yourself 100% from them, the narcissist, you have to see and accept, this is the key, that part of them in you. Accept fully and completely without guilt, shame, or blame. That version of them in you, i.e. love yourself 100%. Okay? Then when you go gray rock, it will work for you. It will work for you this time. I promise it will work for you this time. So it's a matter of asking the questions, leaning into the curiosity of why did I attract this specific person into my life and name that person? Why did I attract this specific person into my life? Why did I go through what I went through? And really diving into what's the lesson here? What's the lesson in this? So if I could go back to when I was gray rocking my ex-husband, I did it before I left. I did it before I left. And I read a few articles or blogs on it, because you can Google this and get this type of information. The information I just gave you is deeper, because I like to give to you beyond what you could Google. But when I was looking it up, it was saying, become boring to them, become unattractive to them, unattainable to them, meaning if they text or call you, you're not right there calling or texting back like you used to. I did this before I left my relationship, the first time and the second time, because there was 2 times that I did it. So the first time in 2011, I went very gray rock, was not there at the drop of a hat like I used to be, was not answering the text messages, was not calling them back. When we were together, it was very, right? Like I remember one of the times, the first time I left him, he was in the hospital from the attempted suicide. And we had the psychologist come in and all of that. And so I remember he wanted me to lay in the bed with him. And I did. But in my head, I was saying, we're never going to be a couple again. We're never going to be a family again. We're never going to be, it's over. It's over. So I was thinking of my future. I was laying in the hospital bed with him, thinking of my future. So I was there physically, but I was there energetically. And if I could do that all over again, which I don't have any regrets about it, everything happens for a reason, but if I could do that all over again, I would not have even laid in the bed with him. I would have said, make up an excuse. I got to go. I got an appointment, the kids, something to get you away from the physical part of him or her, so that you can go, this is what I mean, mind, body, and soul, great rocking. All right. So let me hop over here and see. I'm not switching this to Zoom, Nancy. It's just 2 choices. You can join on Zoom. So I emailed this out to my list. So some people can join on Zoom, or you can join here on Facebook. So yes, it'll be live in the Facebook group, but also for those people who don't have Facebook or are not in the group yet, they can join via Zoom. Hey, Connie. Okay, so what part of them? It's really the part of you. It's the part of you that you can't see in them. This is where it can get a little tricky, and this is where you have to really dive deep into that. So like I was saying, we don't attract narcissistic people into our life by chance. It's a familiar behavior. It's a familiar love that we've had or tried to have in the past, right? Parents, somewhere along the line in childhood, there was somebody who showed up like this, and that we as children were trying to get the proper attention and the proper love from this person. But this person being so disconnected, so narcissistic, because they don't know how to love, as a child, we never received that type of love. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm like, I just spent the weekend with my dad. So this was super interesting because I saw a lot, every time I go there, as I keep working on me, I see more and more and more of who I am and how I've shown up in the past and currently because of the people that I was raised by, my mom and dad. Okay. So the reason why I attracted my ex-husband, he was covert and overt. He was both. So at times he would be overt where it was just really obvious that he was a narcissist. And then he could be very covert in his behavior, in his ways. So on the outside, you could look at it and go, I would never be like that. I would never act like that. I am not narcissistic. I, hate that behavior. And that's exactly what you want to look at, right? You hating that behavior. Okay, where did that behavior come from? Who acted like that when you were growing up? So for me, if I look back at my ex-husband, there's a lot of similarities to my ex-husband and my mom and my dad, both. And so when I start to look at, oh, so that's where the familiar behavior, the familiar feeling came from, trying to get attention from, as a little girl, from someone growing up, just spilled over into my adult relationship where I was trying to get attention from this person. Does that make sense? Let me know so I just answered that on the Facebook. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so Nancy says, how do I join on Zoom? As of when? You can join on Zoom. You'll receive the email, and that'll be in there. All right. And then specific parts, or that they are a narcissist. Both. The specific parts of them that you don't like, and that they are a narcissist. Because remember, if you have a father who's 100% Italian and a mom who's 100% Irish, you're 50-50. You're half Italian, you're half Irish. Now, whether or not you like spaghetti and meatballs, doesn't matter. You're still half Italian. Okay? Yes, it's been familiar love that I was trying to get from my father who had narcissistic traits. Okay, good. I'm glad you understand. I just wanted to make sure on that part that you got it. Okay, good. That's important, because this can be the hardest part to see, is like, I don't want to look at this. When I do exercises with my clients and we dive deep into this and we do mirror exercise, it's like, or even before I would do mirror exercises, just having them say certain things to accept this part of them, I would ask, how do you feel? And they'd be like, nauseous. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel dizzy. I feel bad. Well, that's because for so long you've resisted it. So once you do these things, this is how, when you go gray rock, it will work. Okay. These are the things that you have to do. You have to detach yourself, mind, body, and soul, to the narcissist in order for the gray rock method to work. Because if you're like all the things that, if you Google this says like, oh, don't give eye contact. Okay. So like right here in the chat, it says, be unresponsive. If you're unresponsive physically and you're like, I'm not going to text him back, I'm not going to call him back, I'm not going to whatever, but energetically, your thoughts, your energy is still there, this isn't going to work. Involves deliberate actions like avoiding eye contact. Okay, so showing no emotions. So you can show no emotions physically, but if emotionally inside you, you're pissed off, like you're like this, I hate, then this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And energy is felt. Energy is felt, and the narcissist can feel your energy. So you're still attached to the narcissist. You're still attached. Okay. I remember one story when I moved here from Florida, and I received a phone call from my dad. Yeah, it was my dad, that my ex and my son had showed up at his house, and, you know, some drama, because it was always some kind of drama. And my body immediately went into fight or flight immediately, because now my ex was there, and I'm talking to my dad, like, I know he's like yards away. Anxiety started to build up, and I started to feel like all those emotions, and my body was reacting to all of those emotions of being that close to him physically. And this was something that I needed to look at, because at that time, he was still in my life. It wasn't a lot, but there was little sprinkles that he was still trying to, you know, inject himself into my life. Even though I was in North Carolina, he was in Florida, we were completely, I don't remember if we were divorced at that time, legally divorced, but so yeah, this is a mind, body, and soul thing that you have to do in order to detach yourself. Otherwise, you're still attached energetically to the narcissist. And if you're still attached to the narcissist energetically, especially if you have children, this can be a little, this needs more attention if you have children. This needs more attention, meaning you need to go deeper if you have children together, because the children and all the things that have been put in our heads about having a child with somebody, you're linked together forever. You know, you're attached to this person till, you know, weddings, even after 18 comes, there's weddings and this and that, which can be true, but it doesn't mean that you're still attached to them energetically. And quite frankly, sometimes they don't, you know, when you really go gray rock, they lose interest and they don't show up at those events, which is good, because then you can take a deep breath and relax and enjoy the event without worrying about the toxic person showing up. You can have a good time. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so let me read these for a second. Okay, Connie says, I'm fine until he actually shows up physically, if he would just stay away. Okay, so to answer that, Connie, so there's still work that needs to be done, mind, body, and soul, because if he's still showing up, there's still an attachment. If he's still showing up physically, there's still an attachment. He still knows that he can push your buttons. He knows that he can get a reaction from you. And also going gray rock, when you go gray rock, this is also cutting off the narcissistic supply as well. Because narcissistic supply is simply your reaction, good or bad. It's your reaction to them. So when you go gray rock, you're not giving a reaction, mind, body, and soul. You're boring. There's nothing there for them to entertain. They will move on to somebody else. So what I would do, Connie, for you is I would play that out. Okay, you said, I'm fine until he actually shows up physically. I would play that out. I'm fine until he actually shows up physically. Play that out in your mind over and over again. How can you be fine? How can you still be fine, even if, big old if, he shows up physically? Because if he shows up and you don't have a reaction, there's nothing for him to get. You've cut the narcissistic supply. So I would play that out, whether you do that in front of the mirror or write it out or whatever. I would play that out several times to where you're fine, even if he shows up. And you've put it in your head You've mentally prepared yourself and emotionally prepared yourself that if he shows up, you're fine. You're fine, right? I would do that. And give me an update on that. Same for you, Nancy. My mom just had no value for other women. She idolized men. Yeah, and probably, Connie, she idolized men because growing up, her mother didn't give her proper attention, and her dad did. And so that's why she idolized men. Or it could be the opposite. She didn't get the attention from the men, so she idolized men to get the attention. Oh, if you could look back at that and see that. I do need intense work, especially since I have a child with him. Okay, Nancy, well, you got my number. All right, good, Connie. I'm glad that felt good for you. All right, my loves. So here's what I'm going to do from now on. If you're on my email list, meaning you get emails from me, then you can join this by Zoom. You can also do it right here on Facebook. It's totally up to you what you want to do. I'm going to do both every Tuesday from 12 to 12:30. If you want help with these topics, join my Life After Narcissism membership. If you're not in it, why aren't you in it? So I'm going to leave the link. It's my birthday month, so I've dropped the price down for you. And once you get in on the price, you're grandfathered in. When the price goes up, it doesn't matter. You are still at that price. This is a online recovery support group where you're able to clear out the toxic past. And this supports you in becoming the version of you who lives your magical life after narcissism. And that's my whole goal, is to show you how I've done it. That's why I always use myself as an example, because I want to show you how I've done it. So I did it. I left and did all of that without the intense coaching that I've had done on myself, from myself. But then getting into a healthy relationship and living the life that I have now, definitely I give credit to all of the coaching that I've had done on myself. And every day I continue to work on myself. So this is an online recovery support group, and it's open to any woman who struggles in relationships with emotionally unavailable and toxic men. We meet twice a month, and it is for you. All right. This is for you if you want to experience a healthy relationship with someone who will love and adore you. So I'm going to leave the link here. Oh, awesome, Nancy. That would be wonderful. Well, are your two friends in this Facebook group? Because that would give them a chance to see like the lives, the training, and all of that. You could start there, and then you could share the link with them as well. Yeah, the group is amazing. You're surrounded by women who get you, get your situation, get it, just really get it. And how healing is it to be in a space where you're surrounded by people that truly see you and love you and get you, where there's no judgment, there's no blame, there's no shame, just get you. It's so relaxing to be surrounded by people like that, that really, truly get you. And it's healing, because when you've been in the opposite environment where there's been criticism and shame and blame and guilt and all of that, to now flip that and be surrounded by people who get you and understand and really, like, this is your soft place to land, right? This is where you go when you need to vent or share victory, right? Or get more coaching, whatever. It's available to you. So that's the group. And right now for my birthday month, it is, I at the lowest price it's ever been. All right, let me see. Does gray rocking also mean that we do not stand up for ourselves if they start trying to control you or abuse you? Okay, let me answer that right now. So the answer to that is yes, because what they're doing is they're trying to get a reaction out of you. When you give that reaction, you're giving narcissistic supply. So by you standing up for yourself, okay, here's the thing about standing up for yourself. You know who you are. You know your values. You know your beliefs. What benefit are you getting by standing up for yourself and telling the narcissist your beliefs and who you are and your values? Right? You're just feeding them. You're feeding them their supply. So Nancy continues to say, that's one that I struggle. I choose to stand up for myself this week a couple of times, and raise my voice, but didn't yell or react. Okay, good. So you're working on it. That's awesome. You're doing it. Yes, I'm trying to get my 200. Okay, I read that. Okay. I believe so because I sent them the link. Okay, cool. I love them to join because it's healing journey with you. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so I don't mean react to them. I mean remaining stoic while briefly telling him, no, I don't do what you say. If your mind, body, and soul is stoic, then yes. Because one of the things that it says when you look back is to react as little as possible. So very short, quick answers. Yeah. So then to that, yes. All right, my loves, that is your Tuesday lunch lessons. I'm so excited to do this. Oh yeah, here's what I wanted to share with you. So yes, yes, the membership, yes, join the membership. It is at the lowest price for my birthday month. Also, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is I'm going to start a series starting next Tuesday. And the series is how to spot a narcissist. So that's like the overall. And then everything under that, I got like so much material, so many questions when I asked that a couple weeks ago that I was like, holy shit, I can do a whole series on this. So that's what's going to start next week. All of those, the questions underneath how to spot a narcissist, because there was just like, I mean, I got a huge response. So I want to answer all of those questions that I got from people. And so that will be the series starting next Tuesday. Not to say if you give me a title that I won't address it. Of course I will. But I'm going to start this series, How to Spot a Narcissist series, next Tuesday. So if you get my emails, then you will get the email with the Zoom link. And you can just join by Zoom if you want to, or you can just join like you are in the Facebook group. Totally up to you. Whatever's easy and convenient for you, that's what I say you choose. All right, my loves, have an amazing week. I'll see you Tuesday.